call me Mystic Mike because I predict these things.
Geoff Neal takes on Carlos Prates this Saturday at UFC Fight Night 319. And this is a really good fight. You know, Geoff Neal was one of the highly touted up-and-comers back in the day. Had some good performances, some good wins, tons of power in the hands, good boxing. Coming in off of a win over RDA. He dropped him and was hurting him, getting him the better of the striking, but then I think when he went for a takedown, RDA tore his ACL or something in his knee. But before that, lost a split decision to Ian Gary. Before that, got finished by Shavkat Rakhmonov. So hasn't fought since October of 2024, taking on Carlos Prates, who's coming in off of his first loss in the UFC against Ian Gary. Before that, had 4 straight finishes in the UFC, not including his KO win on Dana White's Contender Series. So I think this is going to be a fun fight. I think these guys are going to stand on the feet and bang it out. So Carlos Prates, 31 years old, 6'1" with a 78-inch reach, 21-7 in his career. Very good striker. Had like 100 Muay Thai fights. Spent like 6 years in Thailand. Great check right hook. Great left straight with no real setup. Good leg kicks, knees up the middle, stabbing teep kicks up the middle that he uses to kind of maintain his range. He's just very patient, smooth. Doesn't really force anything. Very efficient, accurate with his strikes. Really good movement defensively to kind of elude strikes and kind of just sees everything coming his way. Able to evade and counter. Doesn't get hit a lot. And he's a jiu-jitsu black belt as well. Great takedown defense, 83%, very tall, able to get his underhooks and keep it on the feet where he wants it. So very well-rounded, very dangerous in his prime. Just kind of has that X factor. Fights out of the Fighting Nerds gym. Just a very good prospect in the welterweight division. Taking on Geoff Neal, who's 34, 5'11" with a 75-inch reach, and he's 16-6. So he's going to be 2 inches shorter and give up 3 inches in reach, which is going to be pretty substantial in this fight because I think it's going to take place on the feet. And like I said earlier, southpaw, very slick boxing, good chin, tons of power, has a lot of experience in the UFC. Jiu-jitsu purple belt, 87% takedown defense. So again, another one of those guys who's hard to take down and a problem on the feet. But I'm going to go with Carlos Prates in this one. I see Neal just kind of walking straight into Prates, kind of following him around the cage, not really cutting angles. I think Prates is just a little too slick on the feet with more weapons. Really good kicks, teep kicks, very good timing with his counters and with his offensive strikes. Very better timing, I think. Moves very well. I don't think he's going to get hit or really be in a lot of trouble from Geoff Neal. He has been hurt before, or at least tagged by Trevin Giles, but I just think he's got the skill to kind of find the counters as Neal presses in, managing the distance well with his length, his different kicks, beating up Neal's legs, teep kicking him to the body, and just kind of frustrating Neal, keeping him at bay, forcing Neal to kind of blitz in just because he can't really find his range or get in close, and Prates kind of finding the counters. Prates struggled with the movement of Gary. But when fighters move forward and just kind of want to engage versus kind of fight on the outside and point strike and be evasive, I think that's where he sees the most success. Against Lee, against Neil Magny, Ratke, Trevin Giles, like these guys that wanted to engage and kind of get into his face and get into a firefight. That's when Prates, usually finds the mark. There is a scenario I feel like in this where I can see Neal getting the KO just for some reason. Prates, he is good defensively. He doesn't take tons of damage, but there are times when he does get hit. Trevin Giles was able to land punches on him, and Geoff Neal is not the guy that you want to be testing your chin against or really taking a lot of chances. And I feel like sometimes Prates, he'll stand in the pocket and look to counter or engage with guys. So I feel like there is the potential for Neal to get the KO on him. Just because Geoff Neal can KO anybody. But I think Prates gets this one done. I think he can find Neal's chin and hurt him and get him out of there. Thanks.